Howdy, 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 back at it again. Today's video is going to be what I affectionately referring to as the Marisa Bible. The whole point of this video is to be a capstone video, to be a cumulative, comprehensive examination of the character, how to play the character. So taking a look at neutral strategies and then drills to practice in neutral, taking a look at combos and Oki and frame traps and spacing traps, and again drills and ideas of how to practice to improve at all of those things. We're going to look at drills to improve defensively, working on your reaction times and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Marisa is a big body brawler character who can create plus frame situations for mix-ups and who, if she gets the right hit, can absolutely destroy you. So here, this is going to do almost 80% with the level 3. So if you just see that yellow on the health bar and you go, "Ooh, this might be the character for you." Now I want to talk about Marisa's neutral game. I'm going to split this into two ideas, which is her proactive neutral and her reactive neutral. So proactive is when she's taking the initiative. How does she dictate how they play? And then reactive is, okay, how do I shut down their approach options, the way that they're trying to aggress or attack me? Let's start off with her proactive ideas. So the number one is Gladius. This is a great option. It's a tremendous poke. It has really good range, right? She can charge it to kind of screw with their timing if they were trying to like wait and whiff punish it or something. But it's primarily a good option because it's proactive, because if they try to walk up on you, right, they can't, baby. You just throw this puppy out, and it really dictates which buttons they can push because of the armor that it has. Also, it is amazing in mid-range fireballs. So this is maybe sometimes a range where fireball is the best thing to push, and if Marisa does a Gladius at that range, it just wins clean. And if she does like OD Gladius, she can do it really late. I was like, 16, 17 frames. Like, you can even maybe react at certain ranges to certain fireballs with the OD Gladius and just punish them from close range at a range where fireballs usually are king, right? So if you want to dictate how your opponent's playing, this is the layer 1 option. This is, okay, I dare you, walk at me. I dare you. Just walk at me, throw a fireball. I dare you, you will not win, right? That's the layer 1 proactive option. What pairs with that really well? Well, the first thing that pairs with that really well is her phalanx, her Superman punch, especially the light version because it's the hardest to like DI or anti because it's the fastest. What's so good about this? Well, number one is if they're playing back and going through trying to throw fireballs, it will still go over fireballs. So it covers that option too. Now you can't do it nearly as late as with Gladius. You have to do it kind of at the same time or maybe just a little bit later than they throw the fireball. But it gets you the knockdown. Another reason it's an excellent pair is none of her Gladiuses, not even charged heavy, will hit from around start position, but her light phalanx will, so it has more range. So if they're trying to play around the range of your heavy Gladius to whiff punish it, they're going to have a really hard time also playing around phalanx. What about another thing? Well, for one, another reason this works in synergy is Gladius here will lose to lows, right? So something people love to do is they like to try to get in on you and then hit lows. Her Superman punch will go over lows, right? It has a little bit of a low crush property for a huge knockdown. Now you see there, you can't do it at like the same time, you'll get clipped. Heavy actually low crushes the best, right? You see my feet kind of are invulnerable to his strike. So the reason this is really good is it has some of the same strengths. In other words, hey, we still don't want to let them throw fireballs, right? So it forces them to maybe think about chucking plasma because, hey, they'll get a punish counter and we get double dash into, make them guess. But also, it kind of covers two weaknesses of Gladius as well, which is if they want to walk up and push lows, this should go over that. If they want to stay back outside of this range and try to whip punish it, well, this should force them to play back even further. So it forces them to play at like this range in order to make the light phalanx whiff, right? They have to play like here, and from here, what's their offense? Are they going to throw a fireball, right? Because there's still the range where, like, if you read a fireball, you can jump and, like, get a punish.
So fireballs from this range are not usually very good. And are they going to drive rush at you? That's predictable all of a sudden. So even just these two tools really complement each other very well. What about some other proactive tools? Next thing is a stand heavy kick, right? Because one thing that both Phalanx and Gladius are weak to is walk back, right? So if they're trying to walk back, they can maybe make this stuff whiff. Now you see Phalanx has enough range that if you throw it at the right range, you'll still catch them, but it's weak to walk back. What prevents them from walking back? The proximity block on stand heavy kick. So all of a sudden you go, okay, I'll just charge this, or I'll just throw this, and if you're close enough, as soon as you touch that button, they're not walking back. So this can sort of help keep them in place, right? On top of that, if they're like throwing out lows, or just buttons in general, and you get a whiff punish with this thing, huge, huge, huge reward on hit. It also has a minor low crush property, which you saw there, where the hurt box around the leg doesn't really extend. So you can get a gigantic punish opportunity if they're trying to poke with lows. So this is, again, good for dealing with lows, good for dealing with people that like to walk back. Two more options to deal with. So next thing I want to talk about is her towards heavy kick. This has slightly more range than her like Gladius. You see they both hit from here, but if I take just a minor step back, towards heavy kick hits, and Gladius will whiff. So this is like, if they're trying to play around like Gladius specifically, we just hit towards heavy kick, and boom. You got a couple options from here. So you can either cancel into like Gladius, which you'll notice is a true block string, and does a full bar of drive gauge damage, or you can cancel it into drive rush, and you get a mix between command grab and a strike. You have to delay the strike, though, otherwise it's a block string. It's also really good then because it's not just good on block. On hit, hey look, that combos, and hey look, that combos too. So the idea here is this is very high reward on both hit and on block. However, it doesn't have like the proximity guard or stand heavy kick. So this is like if once you've kind of thrown this out and you've convinced them at this range that they shouldn't be walking back, you can throw this out, cancel it into either drive rush or Gladius, and get some reward no matter what they do. And lastly, drive rush button is of course kind of the universal aggressive proactive option. Marisa has kind of, I would say, two good options out of drive rush. The first and most common being her stand heavy punch. This is kind of like the universal burst option that she does. Moves her forward a lot. She gets her combo into stand medium punch here. And boom, boom. Right? Everything's hunky-dory and okay. But sort of the better option, I think generally, is going to be drive rush into jab. Which now, of course, will combo into back heavy punch. And you see that looked like it was like pretty far. Maybe it wouldn't combo. This has more range than what you think it does because it moves her forward quite a lot. And then, of course, on block, this is +3 and sometimes in throw range, depending on where you were when you did the drive rush. Right? And obviously, this is just like the close range burst option. I want plus frames. I want to mix up. Let's do it. Kind of a option. So that is it for her proactive options. We have Gladius, Phalanx, stand heavy kick, towards heavy kick, and then, of course, drive rush into jab or drive rush into heavy punch. Marisa's defensive neutral tools are going to be those things that prevent them from approaching you or attacking you. So what you do to deal with things like walk forward or drive rush or forward jump. Dealing with walk forward, I'm going to cheat here a little bit, and I'm going to say one of the best options here is Gladius. Okay, this is both proactive and reactive. This is both offensive and defensive. You can use it sort of as a wall. You see him approaching, you push Gladius. But it can also be used, as we mentioned before, as a way to sort of dictate range that you want to play at. Okay. Other buttons that are very good at controlling this space in front of you, stand medium kick, has a lot of range, pushes them back. Towards medium punch. Very similar button to stand medium kick in terms of range. The biggest difference is that if you do manage to get a counter hit, the reward is a lot higher. But on the other hand, if they block it, instead of being spaced out -2, you're pretty close in -3. So you have to deal with their offense a little bit more on the flip side. Okay. Other excellent tools for dealing with like walk up: crouch medium punch, drive rush, cancel buffer. Right? Oh, I see him walking forward. Sacred crouch medium punch, cancel into drive rush, huge conversion. Right? Kind of expensive though. Cheaper version of that, stand medium punch. Right? This is a lot of forward range actually. It's pretty disjointed. And you can just sort of tap it for the easy confirm. So you just like double tap this thing. And then you can convert into a combo if it hits. And I think this is sort of what this button's supposed to be used for. I think a lot of Marisa players like to play the casino game on block. But really this is about, hey, I notice they're trying to walk up on me. Let me push medium punch and stop that from happening. Right, so medium kick towards medium punch, stand medium punch, crouch medium punch are all very good at dealing with walk forward. However, stand medium punch and crouch medium punch are by far your best like drive rush check buttons. So like you see drive rush coming, stand medium punch again, very disjointed, 7 frames, and it can connect from like way over here. So you do something like that, you're like, okay, turn screen, hit medium punch. Whereas that's 10 frames, that's 11 frames, that's 8 frames, has a very good hitbox. But your 2 medium punch buttons are sort of your go-to answer to drive rush in most situations. Her anti-airs are varied. None of them are particularly strong. I don't think they're awful, but they're definitely a weakness of the character. So her normal anti-air, crouch heavy punch, if you push it late, it will trade or lose. If you push it early, it should always be fine. Right? It has a very good vertical hitbox. Biggest issue with it, from up close, it can whiff. Right? Doesn't deal with cross-ups very well. And from further away, it doesn't have a ton of horizontal range, so it can whiff against empty jumps especially, and then you can like land into whiff punish, which can be kind of difficult. So from certain ranges, it can be difficult to use like there, where you're like, okay, I have to wait a little bit. I'm not sure. From further away, her default anti-air special is this light quarter circle back punch, this light Dima. It is completely anti-air and vulnerable starting from frame 5, so it will always, always, always win. However, this thing has some issues too. Primarily that if you're not super far away, you have a tendency to just go directly underneath them. And then you are minus a gajillion. Her quarter circle back medium punch has upper body anti-air and vulnerability. And she gets a little bit of a juggle here. Not a great one. But she does get a little bit of a juggle here. The main issue with this thing is, yes, it also suffers from the same idea of you can go underneath them. It doesn't move forward as much, and it's a little taller, I think, so it's a little harder to make it do it. But the biggest issue is just this thing is 16 frames, and the anti-air vulnerability is not great, so if you do it late, it can be hard to get it to win like that. So that's my main issue. The OD version of this move is sort of somewhere in between. Has a lot more reward than the medium. It's the same speed, so it's still 16 frames. So it can be kind of baited by empty jump sometimes if you don't do it soon. But this is like your, oh, I know they're going to jump. What's my biggest punish that I can get? And that's sort of where you want to go with this thing. Again, it has the same issues, though, where you can go underneath them. Her most consistent anti-air by a mile is this jump medium punch. If you do it early, obviously it's an air to air, so it should always win, because you can just do it the moment you jump off the ground. It's also really her best option against these close jumps, because she can do it off of jump back or off of neutral jump if she doesn't want to give up as much space. Of course, you can also anti-air with her jump back. Jab is also a fairly good option. Probably the most common thing you'll see is anti-air with light gladius. So generally what you're going to do is you see him jump, and then you just hold down the punch button until you see yourself armor, and then you just react by releasing the button. This is really good because it can cancel into level 3, and this isn't scaled, so this is going to do 5k. Big weakness to this is if they empty jump, you obviously will not have anything to react to. And even if they empty jump into nothing, instead of doing like empty jump into block, or excuse me, empty jump into throw, this is still -5, so you're -5 pretty much in their face, and they might even be able to punish you depending on the character and depending on like how deep the jump was. Like if they landed there versus if they landed there, you know, the range on the Gladius on block is going to be different, so they might even be able to punish it. The last tool for her that I should have mentioned earlier, in neutral, if she's playing reactively or defensively, is definitely her stand heavy punch. This is such a good whiff punish tool. It has a ton of range, and you can get just a ton of reward on hit. You know, that's 60% from a whiff punish mid-screen, and that was not an optimal combo. So it's a very powerful tool where you're like, okay, I'm waiting, they whiffed a medium, cool. So that's sort of like the last option she should be looking for. It's like, okay, I'm going to check forward movement with this and this. I'm going to control space with this and this. I'm going to anti-air primarily with this and this. And then if I see them with anything, I'm going to take their soul with stand heavy punch. Right? And that's kind of her basic neutral game plan. I do have videos that go in more depth on those things. I didn't want to just copy paste every video I've ever made into this video though. So that's why I'm not necessarily spending that much time on it. Now that we've looked at Marisa's neutral tools, let's look at a drill or idea that you can use to practice some of this neutral yourself. So I have a dummy set up to do a bunch of different things. So I've got wiggle into crouch medium kick that I need to practice with punishing. Wiggle into jump that I should practice anti-airing. Wiggle into button to be combined with wiggle into crouch medium kick so that I'm forcing myself to react to him actually pushing a whiff punishable button versus just seeing any twitch. Wiggle into like walk up, so if you're like, oh, walks forward, I want to check that with stand medium punch or towards medium punch or something like that. Wiggle into, in this case, Dragon Lash. So you can be like, okay, I just want to practice reacting to this in whatever way. Like maybe it's perfect parry, maybe it's DI, I don't know. And then same thing, wiggle into drive rush. And you're supposed to practice checking this. Now I've been doing drive rush jab, and I have him doing the forward parry so that you can see he only has 3 frames of parry at the start. So this is as fast as Ken can do a drive rush jab, which can make it kind of difficult to check, especially if it's mixed in with other things. So the idea here is you just turn on however many of them. And you okay, crouch jab, jump, anti-airs, medium kick, whiff punish it, right? So these you turn on as many of those as you'd like, and you weight them however you'd like. So if you really want to focus on the whiff punishing, you turn that up higher. And then you fail immediately. But you get the idea, right? That is the easiest way to sort of work on your reactions in neutral. Now that we've looked at Marisa's neutral game, I want to look at her combos. So I want to look at regular hit, counter hit, then drive rush / punish counter because they add the same frame advantage, then drive rush cancels, and then I want to look at some of her juggles from her heavy and OD Dima. So lights. On regular hit, all you're really getting is either crouch jab, light Dima, or crouch light kick, crouch jab, light Dima. That's it from lights. Mediums, in terms of what you're linking out of, not much. You really just have stand medium punch shark combo and then into medium Gladius or medium Dima. Of course, the OD versions of those also work. Her crouch medium punch will combo into light Quadriga, which is probably, if you're going to buffer something, what you would want to buffer. From her heavies, back heavy punch will combo into heavy Dima if you cancel. Towards heavy kick will also combo into heavy Dima. It will also combo into OD Quadriga, and that is the only like normal hit combo into OD Quadriga, which is really important because those are her biggest damage combos. Her charged heavies, charged heavy punch is +7 and therefore will link into medium punch. Charged back heavy punch is +8 and will combo into a regular back heavy punch. And then charge towards heavy kick is +10. And the best thing you can go into here is going to be a back heavy punch. Moving on to counter hit. So the big thing that happens with her lights here is she can actually get a combo out of her light punch target combo. This doesn't combo on normal hit. I generally go into light kick quadriga just because it has a good combination of consistency, damage, and Oki. Her crouch jab will also combo into her stand light kick. So you don't have to like be chain canceling it. You can just push it and then C counter hit and get the completion on the combo. And then the other big ones are her towards medium punch will now link into her crouch jab. So if she's trying to catch walk forward and she gets a counter hit, she can convert that into a combo. Her stand heavy punch, same idea, links into her crouch light punch into light demo to complete the combo, get a knockdown. And then her charged stand heavy punch is now +9 and will link into back heavy punch for a much bigger reward. Drive rush / punish counter now is going to add 4 frames of advantage. Big change in season 3 was that drive rush or punish counter crouch jab will now combo into back heavy punch. Drive rush into crouch medium punch will now link into stand medium punch, as will drive rush into crouch medium kick or drive rush into stand heavy punch. All of those are +7. They all link into stand medium punch, as does drive rush back heavy punch. Drive rushing stand medium kick allows it to link into back heavy punch. That's one of her B&B routes. More relevant on punish counter than on drive rush, just because you can whiff punish with this. But crouch medium punch will now combo into OD quadriga. And kind of more relevant from drive rush is that drive rush back heavy punch will also combo into OD quadriga. And that's good for combo extensions if you do stuff like medium punch, drive rush. We'll get into that in a second, but I just wanted to show that off here. Other big combo changes, drive rush into charge towards heavy kick is now going to be +14, which is significant because it will let you do another towards heavy kick and get the combo into OD quadriga. Otherwise, drive rush overhead links into crouch jab, so you can get a combo off the overhead. Now, there are a couple combos that are punish counter only. They don't work on drive rush. That would be stand heavy kick, has a special stun state, and you can do drive rush into towards heavy kick. And then charged heavy punch is +15, allowing you to link into towards heavy kick for the combo into OD quadriga. Next up, drive rush cancels. So medium punch target combo, back heavy punch is going to be your damage optimal drive rush cancel. I showed you can either do that then into OD quadriga if you're close to the corner, or it's +7, so you can link back into the medium punch target combo. Crouch medium punch, drive rush cancel will link into stand medium kick. Back heavy punch will also link into stand medium kick, as will towards heavy kick. We can also look at counter hit drive rush cancels, so things that only work on counter hit. So obviously stand light punch target combo, drive rush into stand medium kick is kind of your basic ender there. But then you also have a few things like allowing yourself to actually link out of drive rush canceled lights. So for example, we can do crouch light punch, drive rush cancel, crouch light punch, which then of course gives us the link into back heavy punch. And we can also do stand light kick, drive rush cancel, crouch light punch, allowing the link into back heavy punch. That's it for links. Let's look at juggles. So we're going to look at heavy Dema, and everything that works for heavy Dema will work for OD Dema. So we're going to look at the meterless options first. We have light kick quadriga, which keeps them kind of close if you want meterless Oki, or if you're meterlessly trying to cancel into level 3. Heavy Gladius, which is going to be your general level 3 ender, although if you are not at the right spacing, this can whiff on the level 3, so be careful with that. She can do 1 charge stand heavy punch, which is good for damage, and it keeps them close for Oki or setups. You can do the heavy punch target combo, which if you're anywhere near the corner, like if I land this from like here, this is +42 and will set up a real safe jump. You have down forward heavy punch, or her overhead, which is plus 41, which is like a pseudo safe jump. So this will beat any OD reversal in the game. But, for example, a light DP will still hit her here, right? So it's not like a real safe jump, but it is good against people that don't know. And then lastly, she can also charge a sweep here for a very similar knockdown to the charge heavy punch, but it's a little more corner carry. In the corner, she has a few different meterless options, so she can charge back heavy punch and then generally go into either heavy gladius or light phalanx for the safe jump. I'm terrible. There we go. That's a safe jump. Or she can do a charged crouch heavy punch, and then she can link a medium gladius afterwards. And as far as season 3 goes, she's now actually able to cancel this into full charge level 1, which I know isn't meterless or, you know, resourceless, but it's still good to know. Now she also has some canned or some usual extensions that use drive rush. The most obvious here is going to be drive rush into heavy Superman. Does good damage, does good corner carry. But she can also do drive rush into medium Quadriga. And then if you're more like mid-screen, doing drive rush back heavy punch into OD Phalanx is good because it will hit the wall and you get an extension. In the corner, she has a few metered follow-ups, so she can do charge back heavy punch into OD Quadriga and then finish this up with a sweep. But most of these metered follow-ups are going to come from charge crouch heavy punch and then into drive rush back heavy punch. Now from here, she can go into medium Superman or medium Phalanx for a safe jump, heavy Gladius for damage, or heavy Quadriga if you find that easier to cancel into level 3. But she can also go into OD Phalanx for then the wall combos and follow-ups. OD Dima has a few unique follow-ups because it launches them just a bit higher. First of note is that doing this overhead now puts us at plus 42 instead of plus 41. So even if they do a light DP, this is a real safe jump. Next to note is we can do drive rush into towards heavy kick. We can then cancel that into heavy Quadriga, and that does a bunch of corner carry and good damage. Or we can even do target combo and then either go into light Gladius or into jump medium punch for better Oki without losing much damage. That was fast, it's a lot, but that is most of the combos that are useful to know for Marisa.
Now that we've looked at Marisa's general combos, I want to look at the combos that really make the character go, which is her DP punish counter combos that start with like the charged heavy punch. So if you have them in the corner, it's going to be charge heavy punch, towards heavy kick, OD quad, back heavy punch, towards heavy kick, charge back heavy punch, heavy Gladius. Cancel that into level 3, does almost 8,000 damage. Mid-screen, the goal is still going to be to route into this OD Quadriga. If you're too far away, however, we actually can't drive rush follow-up, so you need to do drive rush cancel first. And then drive rush, depending on the distance, that's either going to be towards heavy kick or back heavy punch, into heavy Dima for 5,044 damage. Pretty significant drop-off. If you're a little bit closer, you don't need the drive rush cancel first. You can just do something like this. And there you see that's quite a bit more damage. Not quite as much as if you had them completely in the corner, but it's definitely more than if you had to do the drive rush cancel first. If you're all the way backed up, it's actually optimal to start with the charged crouch heavy punch into charge back heavy punch, drive rush cancel towards heavy kick, and then another charge back heavy punch. This does lose a lot of damage versus the corner combos, but it's still more damage than any other character can get. We've just taken a look at Marisa's combo game, her DP punish game. So the question that comes naturally, I think, is, well, how do we land these combos, right? Am I just supposed to jump at them all the time? Am I just supposed to sit there and charge heavy punch at them all the time? And the answer is no. There's 3 main situations where you're going to be able to land these big conversions. That's off of Oki or your knockdown setups, and then frame traps and spacing traps. I want to start by looking at the Oki and knockdown side of things, but this is not going to be every single setup. If you're interested in that, I put out like a half an hour season 3 knockdowns and Oki video. That'll go a lot more in depth. Here I'm going to look at conceptual things and just sort of how do we convince them to score the hits. So the general idea is we need them to stop blocking, right? Because if they don't stop blocking, we can't do our damage. How do we get them to do that? Well, the most obvious way for Marisa, she has a command grab, right? You do this enough, they can only eat 4 of these, right? Does 2,500 damage for most characters. That's going to mean 4 of them, and then they die. So you can convince them to hold up and then kill them. You can also, and this is underutilized by a lot of Marisas, just use regular throws. Just traverse into normal throw to get them to attack. From her medium demon knockdown, for example, at plus 36, if they wake up with an immediate throw and she holds back, she can shimmy. The third way that we're going to convince them to hold up or to stop blocking is through the use of strikes. And you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would strike convince them to stop blocking? Look at his drive gauge. Okay, once he blocks this stand heavy punch, the back heavy punch into Light Gladius is a block string. So I can show him mashing on block here. You'll see it doesn't come out till after that sequence is over. That's all block string. It's uninterruptible, which means they can't parry during it, they can't reversal during it, nothing. So once he blocks this, he's committed to taking 2 bars of drive. So what that means is if they block something with low drive gauge, right, he can either block that and just accept being burnt out, or in a situation like this, people are much more likely to like parry or jump or reversal, especially like a super, right? Because a lot of people don't want to burn themselves out. You sort of have to make the read on your opponent, but that's the idea, right? We can convince them blocking is a bad idea, even if we're not enforcing command grab or regular throw all the time, because we can just chunk at their drive gauge and convince them that, okay, you're going to be burnt out and that's not going to be good for you. Now, let's look very briefly at some setups. So light Dema, I already mentioned, we can command grab, we can regular throw. You can also do charge stand heavy punch, that's auto-timed, or charge back heavy punch, that's also auto-timed. Okay? You can get cute with stuff like drive rush into overhead or drive rush into low, but for the most part, throw, command grab, and then charged heavies are your bread and butter. Medium Dema, it's kind of the same thing. If you like an auto-timed thing, charge towards heavy kick, back heavy punch like Gladius, very good. You can also get charged overhead, which is still pretty good drive gauge damage-wise, and it's an overhead. And then, of course, again, we have command grab and regular throw. From a heavy Dema, we can also set up this mix up a couple different ways. So if we don't do any follow-up, we have a mix here between command grab and stand medium kick. Or, again, we can also do like a regular throw if we want to. The thing that you see a lot of people do, though, is this charged heavy punch. Because we can do stuff like this, where you just charge this into like Gladius. That's over a bar. They can't interrupt it. So you put them in the spot where they just have to kind of guess, and you can be like, oh, I'm going to walk up, throw you. I'm going to do drive rush into command grab. I'm going to do drive rush into regular throw. Right? And you can sort of bully them a little bit. If you're interested in more specific setups, check out my Season 3 Knockdown and Oki video. It's like half an hour long, goes over a bunch of stuff very in depth. This is just the general idea of, hey, on Oki, how do I get them to actually, like block with their face? Now that we've looked at Marisa's Oki generally, I want to set up some drills and show you how to practice Oki. So you just pick a knockdown. In this case, I'm going to pick the medium Dema knockdown. And then I'm just going to set the bot to mash and then do nothing. And I have it set to block after first attack, so that means he's going to block. And then I'm going to have him wake up DI. So I'm going to practice timing this. There you see I was late. I timed it too late. What I'm going to do is go, okay, now I need to try to react when different things happen. So that time I got my hit, so I go into a combo. Now I screwed up my combo because I was supposed to be phalanx, not super, right? Okay, I'm getting better, right? Because now I hit it correctly. And I have to figure out what combo I want to do. Now I'm getting combo practice in too. And I'm getting practice reacting to DI, right? And then I can practice on the DI combo and things of that nature. But you don't just want to do this with one option, right? You want to do this with a bunch of things. So I'm going to practice throw now. So I'm going to have him either jab or jump. Jab so that I can make sure I'm timing it correctly. And then jump, I go, oh, wait, that avoids it. What should I do if he jumps my throw? Right? And maybe I want to do something like, oop, I've screwed it up. Something like that, and I grab the landing. Right? So the idea here is you just pick all of your different knockdowns, right? Because we could do this for, Light Dema too. And then I don't have to worry about this because it's auto-timed. But I still have to think about, like, doing this with a regular throw, right? Oops, I was too fast. Oops, I was too early, right? So you set up the options and you just practice going, okay, what happens if it works, right? If I'm doing a meaty and it hits, I better hit confirm into a combo. And if it's blocked, I better not, go into the same combo because it might be punishable. Things like that. Okay, so that is how you practice Oki. That's how you're going to want to drill it. The next way that you're going to land these big hits is through the use of frame traps. Now, if you're unaware, a frame trap is just where you leave a gap on block to give the opponent a chance to get hit. So, common thing from Marisa, stand medium punch into like Gladius. That's a frame trap. Notice if he mashes, he gets hit. Something that is not a frame trap is like back heavy punch into like Gladius. He can't get hit there, right? Doesn't matter if he's mashing jab this whole time, he doesn't get hit. There's no gap. So frame traps can be really powerful because you can do things like drive rush cancels, and instead of getting like a simple special move, you get a whole combo, right? That's the idea. Marisa's 3 most common or optimal or whatever frame traps that she's going to use from drive rush cancel, stand jab target combo, got to do this on second hit because there's a gap already, into stand medium kick to catch mashing. This medium punch into crouch medium punch to catch mashing or jumping or anything like that. Her towards heavy kick into command grab or a delayed stand medium kick. And you do have to manually delay that, but it's not that hard to do. Just sort of see she takes a big step and then you push medium kick. Right? So these are good, right? Because they can lead to big reward on hit. There are some weaknesses to frame traps in general, right? So for these light ones, for example, even if I hold back this whole time, I can't block a DP, so they can do something called DPOS, where they just mash the DP. And if you do a block string like that, the DP doesn't come out. But if I do this, the DP does come out, right? That's what's very good about this towards heavy kick drive rush, is if I hold back this whole time, I need to put this to first hit, right? I can just hold back and block, and he can't DP it, right? But the idea here is you're trying to get them to go, oh, should I push? Should I push? Because then if they get too scared to push and they don't want to push any buttons, that's when you can get away with stuff, like this, or like this, or whatever, in situations where you can just sort of chip away at their drive gauge if they get too scared to push. Or even something like this, like doing drive rush into command grab from the stand light punch, or from the stand medium punch target combo. You can look at the frame meter, you see there's really big gaps there. Okay, so if I try to do command grab here normally, it doesn't work. But if I convince them not to push through the use of stuff like this, well, hey, look at that, right? All of a sudden, now he's sitting there and holding still, and I can command grab him, right? So that's the purpose of frame traps, is to score big hits if they like to challenge, and then through the scoring of big hits to convince them not to challenge so that you can get away with kind of fake pressure sequences. Now let's talk about how you're going to practice or drill hit confirms. So the first hit confirm drill is going to be, I'm just going to have him mash, and then I'm going to have him do nothing, right? And then I'm going to do my frame trap, right? Now if he blocks it, I want to do crouch light kick into crouch light punch, and if it hits, I want to hit stand medium punch. So it should look like this. Hit, stand medium punch, go into the combo. Blocked, crouch light kick, go into that combo, and I messed that up. Hit, boom, boom, okay, cool. Hit, boom, boom, right? And you just got to work on this. having the right response no matter what they do. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want this to hit, and then you go into this, and you're losing a bunch of damage. Or it gets blocked, and you go into like stand medium punch, and then there's a big gap. Now, related is you can also work on this like +3 or +2, this strike throw situation, right? So you can set it up to have the dummy do like whatever option you'd want him to do. So like maybe like a crouch jab, maybe like a normal throw, like a delay tech, and then like a jump, right? And you just go, okay, off this time I'm going to crouch light kick, and I'm going to practice confirming here, right? So that's one thing you could do. And then you can think about, okay, what if I shimmy, right? And maybe I don't want him to crouch light punch. Maybe I want him to have it do nothing. Okay, what if I... Okay, so if he attacks, I want to punish it. If he jumps, I want to anti-air it. And if he does nothing, I want to do nothing. Right, so I don't want to push if he doesn't push. But I do want to punish him. Oh, there I was late. So this is another kind of frame trap drill you can do, where you just go, okay, what is he doing in response to what I'm doing? And just make sure that you're getting the right response every time. And again, you can optimize this a ton, right? If you practice enough, you can do stuff like that. Instead of the medium punch combo, you can get, stand medium kick. So that's another drill that is really good to practice for your offense. So the last situation where you can score these big damaging combos that I want to talk about is through the use of spacing traps. So a spacing trap, for those of you that are unaware, is you put yourself at frame disadvantage, canceling the Gladius there -5, and your opponent wants to push a button because they know that your turn is over, they're plus. But you create distance so that the buttons they want to push whiff. Okay, so here Akuma's 8-frame crouch medium kick doesn't reach me. And because I know that, I can be ready for the whiff, I can whiff punish it, and I can just sort of cause him to explode, right? That's the general idea. You say, okay, surely there must be counterplay. And there is some counterplay. So one thing they can do is they can throw something like a sweep. Obviously, for different characters, this has differing levels of risk, because if I do lock this against Akuma, especially, I can punish with stand heavy punch. Not a good look for him, right? But they can also do something like just push a longer ranged attack, right? So instead of hitting his 8-frame crouch medium kick, he hits his 10-frame towards medium kick. For Marisa, this isn't that concerning because she can do something like throw out another Gladius, right? And that's also going to be very good if they just stay put. So if they just sort of don't push anything, then you force them to block that, and now they've taken a bar and a half of drive damage. So the idea is, even though you're at a frame disadvantage, right, they still have to be very afraid about pushing buttons, even though it technically is their turn. I want to talk about just a little bit of a drill or a set of drills that you can do to practice your offense from spacing traps. So generally, these are going to be much stronger in the corner because walk back is no longer an option for them. So they can't just cede ground to get out of the situation. So what you want to do is you want to be practicing with probably back heavy punch into like Gladius because it creates a little bit more space. So for example, if I crouch block after doing towards heavy kick, you see I get hit. But if I crouch block here, it just whiffs completely. So there's a couple different options you can go for, right? You can say, okay, I'm going to just, for example, do this, and then I'm going to maybe buffer OD Quadriga behind it, and I just want to work on that reaction, right? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to have another one where he maybe does nothing or something of that nature, right? So I can say, okay, I want to have one where he is set to do nothing, and then another one where he's set to do crouching medium kick, and then I just want to like not overcommit or whatever. You can also say, okay, I want to have one where he walks forward and one where he does crouch medium kick, and then I want to practice doing drive rush cancel, right, into combo instead of doing OD Quadriga because I want to catch him either way. And you can just work on the hit confirm, right, kind of a thing. Or you can say, you know what I really would like to do is I would like to actually react to the crouch medium kick instead. So I don't just want to buffer it. I want to make sure that he does it, and then I want to whiff punish it because I want to make sure that I get all my damage in that I can. So you can say, okay, I want him to crouch medium kick. I want the one where he walks forward. And then I also want one, I think, where he jumps at me. Right? So I want to try to react to a bunch of stuff here. Right? So you can say, okay. So I can try to catch this, and then I want to try to anti-air. So the idea here is I only want to push when I see him do something. So I saw him jump, and I still pushed. So that was bad. Okay, he walks forward. I have him doing walk forward into throw. I reacted to that pretty late, obviously. Be like, okay, he whiffs, I push. That wasn't a reaction, I pushed it way too soon. Okay, now I'm getting antsy, right? Well, at least I pushed. I was a little bit late. That might have been a reaction, hard to say. Okay, I was late, but I did something, right? And that's sort of how you want to set this up. So you're like, okay, I was late, but at least I pushed something. Okay, pushed the wrong thing. Cool, whiff punish, like a real actual whiff punish. So you set stuff up like that, and you just figure out what options I want to try to react to, how do I want to react to things differently, and things of that nature. Marisa is not a character with extremely strong defense, so it's important to be able to maximize the tools that she has. So I'm going to show you a drill that I'm kind of stealing a little bit from Captain Dax. He showed it off in the Marisa chord a couple weeks back, and I just thought it was a really, really good drill, and I just kind of want to demonstrate it. So the idea is we're going to do like a towards medium punch on block to put ourselves at slight frame disadvantage, and then we're going to have Ryu do a couple different things. So one thing I'm going to have him do is I'm going to set the bot to jump, and then I want to try to anti-air. And I can either do that with a jump jab or a jump medium punch or whatever, right? But the whole point is I want to anti-air. I'm also going to have the bot do a drive rush cancel from a crouch medium kick into crouch medium punch. And if I see that, I'm supposed to drive reversal. Like that. I'm also going to throw in just a normal crouch medium kick so that I have to differentiate. So to show off. So that if he just does the regular one, I'm not pushing anything. So I have to react to him turning green before I drive reversal. Then I also have him set to do a normal, just like drive rush into jab. And then walk forward into throw, which you're supposed to attack. Now, you don't have to start with all of these on, right? If you just want to say, hey, I want to work on practicing drive reversal, I mean, even just doing that is good, right? Like, you can see I missed the forward input, or I didn't push it at the right time or whatever. But if you just want to start practicing this, and see I'm anticipating, you can do that. I don't know how I'm getting hit there. I'm missing the window apparently, but that's the idea, right? If you want to practice reacting fast enough, which you can see I'm not doing here because I keep getting DI, which means I'm pushing it late. There you go. That's good. And then as you get better, you can start building in other options, right? You're like, okay, well, then I want to build in drive rush. Okay, I was late. Okay, I didn't push anything. Right, okay. And as you sort of build this, now I got myself clipped because I wasn't even blocking low. So that's the idea. As you can see, I'm awful at it because I haven't really practiced it enough. But it's a very strong defensive drill, especially for a character who doesn't have a ton of defensive options. The next thing that I want to discuss is how to convert knockdowns into stuns when your opponent is burnt out with any super meter. Okay, so Marisa actually does this better than a lot of characters. So I can land a knockdown from even kind of this far away, and I should be able to convert this into a stun in a way that is not interruptible. So the first important thing is realizing that they can't reversal, they can't DP. So as long as we have a meaty that catches wake up buttons, we're completely fine. Okay. So if we can do like drive rush into charged towards heavy kick, or drive rush into charged heavy punch, we're completely golden here. Okay. So for medium Dima, definitely this, and then we can cancel this into medium phalanx, medium Superman punch. That's important because if we do something like heavy, right, if a character has a DP, they're going to be able to DP because there's a small gap. But doing from this setup, there is no gap. So the DP just won't even come out. Okay? Now, why do we want to get into phalanx, or medium phalanx especially? Because it's +6 on block, which means if I hit crouch medium punch, that will counter hit anything you can do, right? Even if he hits a 4-frame light, he gets counter hit. Right? Okay. So that means I can drive rush cancel that. And if I do that, I can go into towards heavy kick and then into medium Superman punch. And once again, there is no gap. So if I did like drive rush towards heavy kick and a medium Superman punch, you see DP still doesn't come out because there's no gap. Which means that even against characters with DPs, there is nothing he can do there, right? This stun was guaranteed. Now, obviously, you're like, well, that costs like your entire drive gauge. It's like, yeah, but if I land this anywhere close to the corner, right, like from here, I don't even have to do the loop, right? Because the meaty does so much pushback, right? So even just doing something like that, and if I do jab, jab, this will probably even hit the wall from there, right? And that was most of the screen. And now I get a full combo. And if I have super, I can do it. And if you add all those numbers up, this turns into like an 80+% damaging sequence, right? And you can do even more depending on conversions and whatnot. But the point is, this is a really big strength of the character, so that if people burn themselves out without any meter against you, you should 100% be able to convert it into a full combo. Lastly, I just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who has supported me, contributed, viewed, commented, liked, subscribed, shared. I mean, it's been a crazy journey over these 2 years, gaining over 5,000 subscribers, just making tutorials for like one character in one game. It's incredible, and the support has been tremendous. What's the channel look like over the next couple weeks and months? There will be some Marisa stuff for sure. Probably mostly matchup focus videos and match analysis stuff, just because I feel like I've sort of, dried out the well here in terms of some of the content. And I don't want to be one of those people that just keeps making the same videos with different titles over and over and over again. That's just not something I'm interested in. For me, I think over the next couple of months for this next ranked phase, I am going to become a FemShep impersonator and learn leverless modern Marisa. I just want to explore modern and see kind of what it feels like to play her. There's some stuff that I've been looking at in terms of like reacting to fireballs with Scutum in mid-range that I think is kind of difficult to do on Classic, that I think on modern, like if a Ryu tries to throw a fireball from this range, you should pretty much always just be able to punish it. And that seems kind of crazy to me, as long as you're looking for it, obviously. So I want to kind of explore that, see how good it is. Leverless, just because I don't want to screw up my muscle memory for pad. I feel like that would be kind of a bad situation. And then we'll explore some Sagat content. We'll see kind of how he feels to play, how he feels to dig into. Does he have a lot of setups? Does he have a lot of cool stuff? And if he does, maybe we'll stick around with some Sagat. Seriously, though, from the bottom of my heart, everybody, thank you so much. Hopefully this has been helpful. And as always, have a good time.